Hey everyone, if you need a solid guide and deck list for what I consider to be the best deck in Lorcana, you've come to the right place. Let's talk about the ever-popular Amethyst Ruby Control deck. First, I'll break down all you need to know about every card, and then we'll dive into some games that show off some of this deck's power. So an Amethyst Ruby Control deck is all about controlling the game through card advantage and constant pressure from powerful cards. In the late game, this Ink duo is unmatched in its ability to respond to almost any threat. This deck has multiple removal options, such as Dragon Maleficent, Dragon Fire, Be Prepared, and Maui. These Ruby cards will help you maintain consistent control while shutting down the opponent's efforts to either quest for lore or wrestle board advantage back in their favor. Amethyst cards like Spirit of Winter Elsa, Rafiki, Befuddle, and Pocket Watch will help you take out enemy characters or disrupt the momentum of your opponent. Finally, this deck provides all the card draw you need, with the Queen, Friends on the Other Side, and Magic Mirror. Add in Ursula's Cauldron, and you'll feel like you're playing an entirely different game from your opponent. Scouting and drawing cards will help you find all of the vital removal and disruption tools we just mentioned. Looking at the full list, I'll highlight a few concepts to keep in mind when running this deck. Despite being a dominant late game list, this deck has several tools that help cover the early game. Against aggro decks, you can utilize Befuddle, Gaston, Rafiki, and Maui to fight back. This deck also runs the small Aladdin and Elsa, whose abilities are quite good already, but are also vital for shifting into their big counterparts, who also happen to synergize with each other beautifully. In particular, Heroic Outlaw Aladdin can trade into aggro threats on turn 5 and severely disrupt their lore, while Elsa becomes a menace late game, locking down characters at just the right time. This deck has many quest threats as well, with Jafar, Mickey, and Dragon Maleficent joining our Floodborn duo, ready to quest for 2, 3, or 4 lore if left unchecked. And all of those characters other than Jafar cost over 7 ink, making them great targets for singing Be Prepared. It may seem counterintuitive to destroy your own strong units, but singing Be Prepared without using ink is a staple combo in this deck that allows you to set up an incredible next turn using your entire inkwell. You can add to that combo with Shield of Virtue, which allows you to quest, ready up, and then sing Be Prepared. You'll see this combo often in the upcoming gameplay. This deck list is extremely solid and well tested, but there are still a few options to consider, one being a popular variation of the list that includes Magic Broom. I'll cover that in a moment, but here are some other options as well. Instead of Archimedes or Sergeant Tibbs, the 1-cost 2/2s, you can run Minnie Mouse or Olaf. These are 1-cost 1/3s. These are good choices if you want your 1 ink characters to stick to the board longer, but I prefer the 2 strength characters because they have more targets they can take out. Similarly, many lists opt to run Donald as a strong 2 ink 2/3, and I do agree he's a great choice, but I prefer Gaston. His 4 strength allows him to take out Simba, Facilier, Cusco, and others. In this deck, the early rounds are all about sustaining and mitigating the opponent's ability to roll out their plan, whether that be setting up a combo, ramping up their inkwell, or aggressively questing. For item options, this deck runs 4 items at 2 each: Shield, Mirror, Cauldron, and Pocket Watch. I love having the flexibility of 2 copies each. Watch and Shield are great versus aggro decks, and the card draw combo of Mirror and Cauldron is great against other control decks. The Amethyst Ruby Control deck almost always forces long games, and so you'll often get the chance to find these items and decide which ones you want to throw down. And although I recommend running all 4, I wanted to cover them as options because there's certainly wiggle room for you to test these items out yourself and decide if you like all 4 of them and how many you need to run. For big characters, this deck can also run Ursula or Dr. Facilier. These are great cards, but Facilier doesn't synergize as well due to a clash of playstyle. He loves decks that want to maintain a strong board, where this deck operates pretty well on an empty board, and so Facilier loses a lot of his value. If you do decide to play him, you'll also need to add in 3 or 4 copies of the 2 ink Facilier Charlatan, so keep that in mind. It's another reason why I tend to leave him out of my list. And finally, let's talk about the Broom options. Brooms are great for a variety of purposes. Their sweep can be used on valuable cards like Be Prepared or Elsa, putting them back into your deck. And Brooms are also used to fight back against the threat of a deck out. That's where you lose the game if your deck runs out of cards and you must draw. And you will find yourself drawing all of your cards during long control matches. especially during a mirror match or versus mill decks that are growing in popularity. Brooms counter this weakness by sweeping cards back into your deck, and like I said, you can pick incredible, valuable cards that you'll want to see again. Another tech option against deck out is to simply add more cards to your list. That's a big reason why both of my decks shown in this video run 64 cards instead of the usual 60. And of course, with Brooms comes Mickey Mouse Wayward Sorcerer. He's not nearly as important of a staple as the Brooms themselves, but certainly worth considering because he can amplify their effectiveness, as I'm sure you know. Here's that deck list variation that features Brooms in case anyone wants to check that out. But for this video, I'll be playing my more standard deck without Brooms. I don't think the standard list is weaker at all, save for maybe 1 or 2 matchups. So unless you know your local tournament or something has a ton of control or mill players, I'd suggest running the standard list. And this is what you'll see me playing here in my matches on Pixelborn. Hopefully these games help you see all of the different nuances and strategies that I just ran through about the deck. Before we dive in, please drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. It truly helps the channel out, and it lets YouTube know that this content is worth recommending to others. Alright, let's get into the matches. Alright, so for the mulligan, in a best of 1, it's really important to be prepared if you see it, in case they are an aggro deck. And then the game becomes a race to see if they can quest for lore before 7. Otherwise, you kind of want to get rid of uninkable cards. You could save Dragonfire if you want. And in terms of big cards like this, you can save them to ink them. And then I usually keep cards like this that give me card draw. Now what you're looking for is maybe your 1-drop, but you don't always find it. You also have Befuddle you could look for. But they didn't summon anything, which is good news for us. So it can sometimes be difficult to know what to ink, but since I have 3 different 3 costs, I have 4 different 3 ink cards. I'll pick one of those. I'm prioritizing the card draw clearly. So next turn we can just pass, or maybe quest pass, and we can start drawing some cards. But it's important to ink every single turn because if they end up being an aggressive deck, you absolutely need to be prepared on turn 7. Doesn't seem like they are an aggro deck though. They could be some sort of items deck or whole new world deck. We'll have to see. So I could take this opportunity to play Pocket Watch. I think I will. Oops. Silly me. I think I will play it. Mainly because this card is just really good with Aladdin. If you have 8 ink, you can just pop down Aladdin and rush him in. It can even be game saving, depending on how your game's going. This is a pretty unusual match. There's not many matches you see that no one gets summoned. And then here we get to choose between a character on board plus a draw or drawing 2. I almost always like having the character, but I think since Maleficent doesn't match up well versus Hans, I'll just draw. And now I have a bunch of uninkables, which isn't great. But I did get the magic mirror. So if he wants to play slow, I can just magic mirror, start drawing. I might end up inking one of these. That's an unusual card. Is he gonna have to choose his own hook because he clicked choose target for the Hans tap? Or he'll just wait out the timer maybe. Okay. I do think that I want to ink Mickey here. Mickey's obviously great for questing, but these are both can be used offensively and defensively. So when you're playing this deck, like the momentum really shifts back around turn 7, 8, 9. Potentially earlier if you get Maui, Dragonfire, a few other cards like that. And so you're hoping to keep them under 10 lore. Game is still winnable, even if they're up at 15, maybe 16 lore. So we're looking pretty good, especially since he doesn't appear to have a lot of card draw options. One thing we got to look out for here is he could play a whole new world. And so don't be afraid to ink your big characters if they're all you got. They will certainly play a whole new world. So here I could draw, or I could play Elsa. Since I have big Elsa, and since I'm kind of afraid of whole new world, I'll go ahead and play her instead of keeping her and drawing instead. Ideally here, with Shift Elsa we'll be at 7, and then next turn we'll be at 8, and we can throw in Aladdin and Pocket Watch. Though we can't shift Elsa now. He's actually running Starkey. This is a captain deck. That's very interesting. So I think I might just be prepared here. I don't really feel like letting him go to 15. And he's only got 2 cards in his hand. It would have felt really bad if I had summoned Aladdin, let him go to 15, then he plays Whole New World and I lose Be Prepared, and then I have no way to clear his whole board. So that was pretty much our only option there. That's why even against a deck that wasn't very aggressive, it's important to try to find that in your early mulligan. So he didn't play anything here. So this deck is very comfortable playing on an empty board. I can just do all this kind of thing. I don't need to play Aladdin because I can Aladdin plus Pocket Watch, swing the lore back by 4. So he's playing a Captain Hook pirate captain type deck, which is really fun, but I don't particularly think it's fantastic. So I'll put Befuddle back. I could keep it for like a hook or something. Well, there it is, I guess. Now, once again, I'm kind of afraid of a Whole New World, but it doesn't seem like he's running it. So I have some options here. I could drag in it, one of them. I could Elsa both of them. But I think I'm gonna do the Aladdin plus Pocket Watch little combo here. Because even with this, he would have to commit Hook plus a Fire the Cannons. And then I'll probably keep, oh, I don't know. Do I want to keep Befuddle? Well, what just happened? Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just going to ink this. If there was like a 2-cost item or minion I was really afraid of. I might keep it, but Elsa's really good. Elsa's really good, especially with Aladdin. If you have her on the board, she can exert anything that they play. Oh, it's a villains deck. It's a Captain Villains deck. Who would have thought? I've never seen this deck. It's kind of interesting. Well, I'm sorry, sir. For all that time used to set up Hades, I might just have to Dragonfire it. Although I think I'll take the opportunity to steal back some more lore. Real quick. If I wanted to, I could Ink Dragon and throw Rafiki or Elsa out, but I think I'm good. Okay, so there's a Plasma Blaster. I have to admit, I never would have expected that. So we'll Dragon, then Quest, pass, and then it's an uphill battle for him at this point. As you saw, like I was saying, the game really shifts around turn 8 or so, and we're past the point of no return in a way. At least from what I've seen of his deck, I don't think he has much of an answer. So yeah, I'm just gonna, don't need to think too hard about this at this point. Plasma. Let's see what he's got in his hand. Okay, I mean that's a decent card, but I don't think it's gonna save him. I'll probably just gonna do the exact same thing I did last time. Except this time I'll be a big jerk and can I? Oh wait, Plasma Blaster costs 3. I couldn't see it. Well, regardless, we're just delaying the inevitable here. All right, GG. I suppose that was a good game, but I don't think that many of you are going to run up against a Amber Steel Pirate Villains deck. So maybe we'll go to the next one and see if we get a little bit more of a typical matchup. I'd love to show off a mirror match, or at least a match versus another control deck, and then I'd like to show off a match versus an aggro deck. Alright, so we have some items here. We have some low cost characters here. Shield's good in your hand because you can play it turn 1, or you can ink it. I know that sounds obvious, but I don't know. I think it really just depends on what other cards you have in your hand, whether it's good to keep or not. And then Magic Mirror, I'll do this. I'm going to probably ink the Pocket Watch and maybe even the Shield of Virtue, but The way I decide is if I have a bunch of other cards I can ink, then maybe I can spare a turn to play this. But if I had like, let's say I only had like 3 or 4 cards I could ink, then it's much better to use it for ink. But I think I have enough in my hand to where I can play this. And I only run 2 in my deck, so if I come across the other one, I can just ink it. I very rarely need 2 on the board. You know, that's a Amethyst card right there. I didn't notice the first card he inked. So this is actually, Facilier normally has a great matchup on early boards, but Gaston is really good into it. So normally I'd ink Aladdin here, but I have the combo, so I'll ink Queen. And then Magic Mirror is also a good play here, but since Facilier just specifically matches up so well to Gaston, I can prevent him from questing. Oh, so it's a purple green deck. Well, this is a pretty good board because Gaston, he loves to attack into 0 strength characters. Okay, we got some interesting choices here on what I could play. I think I'll ink this and play Friends. The reason why is because I don't need another character. If he quests twice, I can Gaston, shield Gaston. And I don't think he has a bodyguard in this deck. So turn 4 with this type of deck, they could play Jafar, they could play their own Maleficent with 3. They could play Tinkerbell, the evasive one. They could play Friends. Oh, he sang it with Cheshire. That's pretty good. And then if I was him, I would just not quest with Facilier. Then Cheshire's safe because I don't really want to attack into him with Gaston because Cheshire destroys whatever you attack in with. There's the Jafar that he could have played. He's got Hans. Okay, that's the other 4 cost for green. It's either Hans or Tinkerbell. He's got 6 quests on the board right now, which is pretty good. I'll probably got a couple options here. I could play Aladdin and set up the big Aladdin. Unfortunately, I do have to attack in because he's reckless. So I guess I'll go ahead and do that. So yeah, we'll set up the Aladdin, I think. I think I already inked a pocket watch. Which means, did I? I've already forgotten. I think I did, and because of that, I might ink this Elsa. Now, the choice is not super critical because I'll probably honestly end up inking both of them if I don't draw something else. Because I absolutely need to shift him in. And then I gotta watch out for his big Facilier to shift in. Alright, well that's good and bad, you know. Alright, so I do need to do this after all, which is fine. Shift this. And it would be nice to take Hans out, but I have to take him out first. Otherwise, Hans will just trade in. If he was at a higher lore count, I would probably prioritize Hans. But that's okay. I don't think he can take Aladdin out. I mean, unless he... Well, I guess he could. He could attack with Hans and summon Rafiki. Or maybe go to 6 and play Genie, bounce into my hand. But Genie's kind of like... I don't think many people run Genie. Okay, he's got Goswell. So I have a couple options here. The very aggressive option would be quest with Aladdin, ready him, sing Be Prepared. Then I have 2 left over for my magic mirror. I could do the same thing, except instead of questing, draw a card. And that's probably better because I don't have much going on here. So instead of questing, I'll sing. And let me draw first to see what I get. Hopefully something I can ink. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. One thing to keep in mind is after Be Prepared, it's a really good time to sort of take a breather and set up. Now, normally, the opponent gets the chance to take a breather, but since I sung the song, I got a little bit of setup on my own for myself. Zeus, huh? You don't often see Zeus. I think I draw here, search for an inkable card. Again, I highly prioritize Maleficent over Mickey. And then I could quest with her, but she's good to keep around. She can sing Friends on the Other Side. And I don't really care about Zeus questing, at least not yet. Okay, so we have a couple options. We could stall another turn, draw. We could ink Maleficent, play Elsa, or we can Be Prepared. I think we have time to stall. So I could either quest and then ready her with shield. But I think since we're at 8 mana, or about to be, I'll play. Since I got Magic Mirror, that feels kind of bad. I was hoping to get something inkable. If I had something inkable, we'd be at 8 now. So it feels kind of bad to trade 1 card on the board that I already had for 5 lore, but I really didn't want to trade Be Prepared for just them. Hopefully he summons out something else that can eat it. Seven would be what? Ursula or Facilier. So I think he wisely knows that I'm at 7, and I probably have Be Prepared. Oh man, this is a tough one. I think I'll do this. Ink that. Play Elsa. so they can't ready next turn, so I can safely trade him over the course of 2 turns. So maybe he'll think I don't have Be Prepared, and if I need to, I can sing it with Elsa. And then hopefully even play Maleficent if needed. I just need 1 more inkable card, and then we have our full combo unlocked here. This game is looking good. We have the card draw we need. He doesn't have Whole New World, so we're not going to be milled. There's the other Zeus, so he's stopping that trade. Alright, this is probably a good time to do the 1-2 combo of Quest, Ready, Sing. I have 5 left, so I'll play this. And I'll ink that. We don't need the card draw, we have it here. We need the 9 for these guys. Alright, feeling good. He's got a little chance to set up here. Gothel. Works for me. Alright, he surrendered. I think I had that one in the bag. So yeah, good game there. Another kind of odd deck. I don't really see Zeus much. Still looking for a more standard matchup here. Alright, we got some big boys and some befuddles. It's nice that they're all inkable. I don't want dragon. Man, this one's tough. Alright, at least I got Archimedes. Okay, Mufasa's a weird card. Don't really see that. It's really good with the starter decks though. Yeah, if you're playing starter decks and you have the blue one, just ramp up into Mufasa on like turn 4. And it's pretty tough unless you're playing red and they happen to top deck their Dragonfire. I'm gonna ink Mickey. I have a lot of uninkables, so I'm tempted to like befuddle that just to be a bit annoying. But like next turn, I probably want to ink befuddle and play Maleficent. So instead, I just won't quest, so she can't trade in easy. There's an argument for questing, taking her out, still having board control, but then just pushing her up to 4 doesn't feel great. Of course, getting smashed doesn't feel great either. Okay, we'll do this. We'll do this. I'm assuming now he may play Mickey. Alright, this is a blue-silver sort of like character board focus deck. If it has coconuts plus Mufasa plus the Aurora. So that's kind of fun. So I could use Maleficent to sing Friends. I think I will. She'll just trade in probably, but yeah, I mean that feels pretty good. I could use Befuddle on Coconut Baskets actually, but I think I'm gonna ink it. because this feels good, especially if they're going to go for board control. Establishing a little bit of my own early on, even despite being a late game control deck, might be wise. I'd much rather them trade in here than shift the big Aurora. I think this is just a free Maui taking out Aurora here. I'll let them keep questing with Grandma if they want. I feel like it's in their best interest to trade in, summon whoever they got, Hades or Mufasa or something. Big Tinkerbell maybe. There's the Tinkerbell. Okay. That makes sense. Good move by them. Honestly, they have nothing in their hand, so this will just completely ruin their tempo here. I mean, it feels bad, but I'm tempted to just Dragonfire Mickey, dude. I don't really want to ink Aladdin or Maleficent. I'd rather go to 7 with something else. 7, 8, 9. So, kind of bullying Mickey Mouse there. They're at 8, so what does that mean? Hades. I guess they could be running Triton or something. I wouldn't be surprised. Just because they're running Mufasa. Okay, there's the Hades. Okay, so at least I can do this here. And then if he takes one out, I can take him out. I could take him out in one hit with Aladdin if he attacks in, but I assume he might attack, play something and heal with Coconut, so then I need to use both to take him out. Oh, okay, nice. He got some value off of that one, dropping 2 Elsa's and Maleficent. That's what he needed to come back, for sure. We'll see if he can do it. I have some options, though. I could probably just drop down a Mickey and just start questing for victory. Let it go. Nice. He's got some tools now. So I have a few options myself. I think I might do this. just because it's an easy way to take out Aladdin. I also could have befuddled it. What do I want to ink? So I definitely want to play Cauldron at some point. I'll probably ink Jafar. I'm not planning on keeping my hand big. So I could have befuddled Coconut Basket, but he's got no damage. It's not an immediate threat. So next turn, depending on what he plays, if he floods the board, then I can just sing Be Prepared with Elsa and follow up with Mickey. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. It's just such an easy play. And I want to get those cards out of my hand while I can. Oh man. Yeah, so I'll quest. I really wish I could play both Cauldrons, but play Cauldron. Ink Gaston. Do that before I forget. I guess I'll take that. Do that. Play Mickey, and now it's looking pretty nice. Of course, he can always play his second Hades. He might even have a third or fourth. So that's where my Cauldron will come in handy. Alright, that works for me. Just got 5 mana. The one jump ahead. It's kind of a dead card this late in the game. So let me scout. Yeah, I'll take Aladdin. I'll keep Aladdin. I'll go ahead and draw it now. I'll quest. I still think I could save this for Coconut Basket or ink it, but I'm at 15, threatening lethal here. He would have to have Smash or Fire the Cannons. He can certainly find it here. He's got so much ink that he can play this and then still find what he needs. So all he needs is like at least one Fire the Cannons to prevent lethal next turn. He can also play Smash, grab your sword, or that. That's his best option. So I still have, the one Be Prepared in my hand, and I have 2 that I've used. So I have 1 in my deck. So let me just sort out my deck here. I think I'll do this, do that. I could have done double Dragonfire instead, but I really like the idea of sort of setting up my board with the queen here. I know I'm drawing a dragon next, so I can deal with another Hades if he has his third one. I typically run 2 or 3, but I suppose he could have 4. Oh, a Maui, that's interesting. He's got some weird cards like Maui and Mufasa in his deck that I think he could swap out and have a little bit better of a list. I guess I'll take Mickey. Guess I'll play Dragon. Should I draw? I'm afraid he might just play another Whole New World. But so I'll quest maybe. Play that. Pass. All right, what's he thinking? Grab your swords? Oh. He's got 10 mana. I need to stop calling it mana, I guess, and start calling it ink. Alright. We'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. So stuff like Mickey plus Dragonfire at the same turn is why you want to sort of ink while you can throughout the late game. But yeah. Alright, there's the victory. Nice, good game. Let's see what else we can get into. Okay, so we definitely don't want both mirrors. I think one is good to keep though, because I don't want to find it later. And then maybe I'll keep Dragonfire. No, I'll throw back Dragonfire. Okay, that does feel a little better. Okay. Maybe I should have kept Dragonfire. It's all good. Archimedes is great in Tilly low. But if they have Simba, it'll be a bit tougher. That's what Gaston is for. Okay. They're thinking about questing. Do it. All right. I think we need to keep Maleficent. So I'll ink Elsa instead. Play Gaston. I could have played Mirror, but if they're gonna try to do some, if they're doing some aggro stuff, I want Gaston out. It essentially nullifies a Simba being played this turn. But to counter it, they could quest with Stitch only, which is what I would do. This quest with Stitch only forces the Gaston in. They're holding everything, so There's really no reason why they shouldn't have Quest with Stitch yet, except for if they have him in their hand. So we'll play as if they have that in their hand. Might be time to do this. If they're playing Stitch, we can't trade in with just Gaston because he has 5 willpower. So we'll need to commit something else, or we did draw Dragonfire. And if he waits a turn to play Stitch, we could have Maui, but as suspected, he has it now. And yeah, I'm not sure why he decided now was the time to make the move. Oh yeah, we're not at 5 yet, so we can't Dragonfire. But we can still trade in here. And I feel pretty good about this board state. And I feel pretty good about hand size. So turn 5, you might be looking to play a green character, maybe Cusco or Hatter. So he's gonna grab Lilo, okay. He's not gonna quest, okay. I'll do that. If he wants to trade in, be my guest. So Maximus, that must have been his plan, unless he just drew that. But unfortunately for him, I have Dragonfire, and I'm going to use it. So his best bet here, probably Cusco, if he can draw it, but so I think I'll sing this. This might be a mistake, but I'm betting on the fact that I can get a inkable card here. And I did. That was a little risky. I could have drawn 2 uninkables, but I felt like playing a little greedy there. I'll ink that. I was thinking about playing it, but let's see what he can top deck, because I haven't quite found what I need. So I can play that safely. Next turn I can take this out with Maui if I need to. If he plays a bunch, I can be prepared. Man, that's tough. I think this is the right move. I need Pocket Watch, really. Or Elsa. Man, it feels bad, but no, I can't. I was thinking about inking him to play Jafar, but I don't think I can risk that. I'm glad that we get to see a aggro matchup, though. He just passed. Befuddle's pretty good, actually. Might as well get some tools while I can. Jafar's pretty good to have on the board with Elsa in hand. I see he played that without the bodyguard. Because, you know, he wants to quest with it. I'll just do that. Could go ahead and play Rafiki because he's uninkable. And then it's probably time to just do this. I think I'll draw one more card here. Then I'm going to start questing. Because I don't think he can deal with this board. Yeah. It's pretty much game over. I mean, it has been for a couple turns, but... And there is probably the concede. Unless he wants to finally show off his Cusco. He really needed it earlier. Because all I had was a Dragonfire for a few rounds there. GG, sir. Alright, that was a fun set of games. If you made it this far, your time spent is much appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you want to see next time. I'll be picking up the pace on the next few videos, so stay tuned, and I'll see you then.